It started with a single video. The title, cryptic yet enticing, immediately drew in thousands, exploring an abandoned asylum that was never officially built. The uploader? Marcus Lane, one of the internet's most well-known urban explorers. A man whose name was synonymous with peril and curiosity, whose fearless forays into forgotten places had earned him a legion of devoted fans. But even the most seasoned viewers could sense that this video felt different the moment they pressed play. The footage was far shakier than Marcus's usual steady camera work, as if his hands, for the first time, could not keep still. The lens fought to focus as it panned over a decaying brick structure half swallowed by the roots and wild growth of the Blue Ridge Mountain Forest. Sunlight barely filtered through the tangled branches above, only enough to illuminate a rusted metal sign, its words barely legible through centuries of corrosion. Blackwood Rest Facility, 1874. There were no GPS coordinates provided, no cross-verification with maps or archives. Historians would later assert adamantly that such a place had never existed. Comments poured in. Where was it? Had Marcus staged this? Was it part of a marketing campaign for an ARG? Forums erupted with speculation, but nothing could prepare viewers for the final 10 seconds. The camera trembled, plunging into the dark corners of an empty hallway overrun by roots. In a strained whisper, Marcus's voice came across the speakers, low and barely audible. "I hear someone crying." Then a sharp inhale and the screen went black. He never uploaded again. Marcus Lane, the unbreakable explorer, was never found. History does mention Blackwood, but only in the faintest of traces, hidden deep in the archives of 19th century Virginia. In 1874, so the records murmur, Dr. Ellis Mercer, a somber, enigmatic physician, opened the Blackwood Rest Facility, a place supposedly established to house the forgotten women of Virginia. But the narrative ends abruptly. Within a mere 7 months, the institution, its staff, and its 47 patients vanished from every public record as if scrubbed by careful hands. One document endured, a letter from Father Nathaniel Crompton, a local priest, delivered to the bishop mere weeks before the town's dissolution. It read, "They are performing treatments that do not belong to man. The screaming does not stop after dusk. The forest itself recoils." His words spread quickly among villagers, fueling whispers of unspeakable acts hidden away beneath the earth's surface. And so the stories began. That the women, some little more than girls, had been locked in subterranean halls. That strange, pale figures with burning eyes roamed the woods under moonlight, weaving through the trees with impossible silence. After several sudden disappearances, a child one day, a woodcutter the next, the entire town of Blackwood shed its population almost overnight. By 1876, not a single soul remained, and nature reclaimed what humans had tried to erase. Marcus's research, cobbled from late-night library visits and conversations with the families of the recently vanished, hinted at a therapy used by Dr. Mercer that was either ahead of its time or the result of sheer madness. Records called it auditory reset. Each patient was forced to wear a copper bell tied securely around the neck. The theory, or so Mercer claimed, was sound-based correction, resetting the mind through constant, gentle chimes. But deeper inspection of the asylum's survivors told a much darker story. There were 2 who managed to escape the facility, as much shadow as fact, their testimonies written in fragmented, jittery diaries. The clearest entry came from Elsie Walker, who scribbled with trembling hands. "The bells weren't for us. They were to warn the spirits, not us." Her last entry was, in retrospect, a warning to all. "If you ever hear a bell in the forest, do not move, do not speak. She listens through sound." Months after Marcus Lane disappeared, his camera was found by a hunter, half buried beneath a mess of leaves and moss only 100 yards from the Blackwood site. The SD card inside survived, though the footage was muddy, fractured by static. In its final recovered scenes, Marcus is seen stumbling through a stone corridor beneath ground level, the air thick as concrete, his breath rapid. He stops before a decayed wooden door barely hanging on its hinges. Stained in faded letters, Room 11, whispering therapy only. Marcus's flashlight is little help. The beam flickers, casting more shadow than clarity. The camera tilts as he pushes the door open, revealing a chilling sight. patient chairs bolted to the floor, dozens of them, each outfitted with leather restraints on the arms and ankles, all facing a single elongated mirror that spans the far wall. The mirror itself is cracked in the middle. Behind it, a spreading rust-red stain, strange and organic, shaped vaguely like an enormous, watchful eye. That's when the voices begin. At first, only on the periphery, a soft whisper, almost the sigh of wind in the broken window panes. Then sharper, intentional. Sit. Don't turn around. She hates mirrors. Marcus's breathing hitches. His camera jerks, searching the corners, the lens failing to pick out what his eyes must have seen. A bell rings, far in the distance, the sound more felt in the gut than heard by the ear. Marcus whispers, "There's someone in the mirror that's not in the room." The image jostles wildly as he screams, a desperate primal sound, and flees, the footage cutting out in a flurry of motion. Yet the legacy of Blackwood did not rot in the earth, nor fade like fog in morning sun. Locals, those who have called the valleys around the Blue Ridge home for generations, refuse to stray near the remnants of the grove, even in broad daylight. Stories circulate year after year. In 2015, 3 hikers vanished while traversing old game trails, their last messages to friends describing an unsettling experience. The distant hum of a woman's voice, and the recurring tinkle of copper bells brushing against one another in the wind. The search parties combed the woods for days, but no bodies surfaced. Only 3 copper bells, each hanging from separate tree branches. Each bell bore a name, crudely scratched into the metal. James, us Lori, and on the final bell, just the single word, me. When rangers attempted to remove the bells, one, Officer Alan Keaton, became afflicted with strange auditory hallucinations. He reported the sounds of children laughing from within his bedroom closet, whispers echoing beneath floors at night, bells chiming in the shower steam. Within a week, Keaton lost hearing in both ears. Doctors could not explain it. Now Keaton spends his days compulsively painting the same image on every available surface. A cracked mirror, with a copper bell behind the glass, warped and distorted. Marcus Lane's disappearance did more than add a name to a growing list. It transformed Blackwood from a local legend to an online phenomenon. Dozens of YouTube creators picked apart his last upload frame by frame, cropping, clarifying, amplifying. Some slowed down the audio, filtering for background signals obscured by static and distortion. What they found sent shivers through forums and commentary threads. A reversed voice, almost childlike, whispering beneath Marcus's own, uttering 3 chilling words: "Bring more ears." The mystery spread to TikTok, spawning a viral challenge. At bell at midnight, teens armed with copper jingle bells and smartphones dared one another to step into the woods at the edge of Blackwood's territory at midnight. Most returned home, giggling, their footage showing only darkness. But in 2024, 2 teens, Lila Jackson and Ethan March, failed to return. Days later, their phones were found propped against a rotten log, both still recording. In one, Lila's pleading voice is crystal clear. "I don't want to listen anymore. She's behind me." No other trace of them was ever found. In the present day, authorities flatly deny that Blackwood ever existed. The land where the asylum once stood is marked on survey maps as federal forest, strictly off limits to trespassers, monitored by silent trail cameras that mysteriously always fail to capture anything substantial. Yet satellite images captured by hobbyists and researchers show, with unsettling regularity, an unmistakable square outline. Too precise, too distinct, etched into the earth beneath the otherwise random tangle of trees. Something is there, just out of sight. And then there's the bell. Every autumn, especially near Halloween, hikers swearing they'd never believe in such tales come running out of the forest pale as ghosts, shaken to their core, recounting the unmistakable sound of an old bell tolling mournfully from deep within the woods, loud enough to be heard impossibly from miles away. Every October, precisely at midnight, a new video appears on Marcus Lane's old channel. 1 second of pure darkness, each titled the same, Room 11. Thousands across the globe gather, headphones pressed tight to listen. Audio experts reverse the brief, static-ridden sound in each one, uncovering a fresh whisper each time. Some claim that when all of the messages are pieced together, they form a single ominous phrase. The silence is the lie. She never left. If this story chilled you, let your fear be known. Remember, some places don't disappear. They wait, silent and listening, for the next misguided soul to step through the doorway and sit before the mirror. Would you dare explore Blackwood? Would you volunteer your silence, your story, perhaps your sanity? Or would you heed Elsie Walker's warning? Never speak, never move. If the bell rings in the forest remembers all. The mirror never forgets. And some stories are too terrifying to ever be truly erased. So, if you survived this tale, leave a sign for us in the darkness. Hit like or comment below if you dare to explore. And make sure you're subscribed. Because the most frightening stories, they're the ones someone tried awfully hard to make you forget. Remember, the silence is the lie. She never left.